From Beggar to Millionaire, a black man's journey inspired by Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Ethan Cole's story was unlike anything the world had ever seen. From sleeping on broken park benches when he was 17 to standing now at the edge of a packed auditorium in San Francisco, ready to change everything. The city glittered around him, the kind of light that promised new beginnings and deep dangers. People called him a visionary. But who was this guy really? And how had he pulled off the impossible? Rumors swirled like wildfire. Some said Ethan built his first robot from scraps found in a junkyard. Others whispered about a secret mentor hidden in the shadows of Silicon Valley. Someone who coached him through late-night calls with strange accents. All the while, his smile held a hint of mystery, as if he knew something others didn't. Something powerful and dangerous. His invention? They said it could rewrite the rules of the global economy overnight. A device so delicate. But just hours before the big reveal, his phone buzzed with a message that made his heart slam inside his chest. Malik Johnson was coming for him. Malik, a billionaire with a past just as wild. Born where hope barely touched, he clawed his way to the top, the ultimate self-made titan. But Malik saw Ethan's invention as a threat. It'll steal away the economic freedom our neighborhoods fought so hard for, Malik warned publicly. Ethan's hands trembled at that thought. Malik wasn't just an enemy. He was a mirror of the fight Ethan had escaped. Their rivalry wasn't just about money or tech. It was about history, pain, and who deserved to control the future. Then came the bombshell. Malik dropped a dark secret, one no one expected. Something from Ethan's past. Something that could shatter his empire before it even began. Whispers filled the room like a slow, poisonous fog. Is it true? Has the Golden Boy been hiding a serious betrayal? A tight knot formed in Ethan's throat. His chest felt squeezed, breath shallow. The summit was only hours away. Lights flashed and chatter buzzed. The air was electric, sharp, threatening. Ethan stared across the room, eyes caught by Malik's calm, almost smug face. The tension cut through the crowd like a blade. Would this secret pull Ethan down? Or was it the key to something bigger, a reckoning he hadn't been ready for? The streets of San Francisco pulsed with innovation and danger. The countdown had begun. Pumped. Inside, two men wrestled with doubt, fury, and a strange flicker of uncertain respect. Could they find common ground? Or would their battles destroy not just each other, but the future they both dreamed of? Just when the weird silence settled in, an explosion of noise ripped through the summit. Screams, shouts, chaos. A blackout swallowed the stage. The mystery deepened. What had just happened? And who was behind it? Ethan's heart pounded harder than ever. The world was watching, waiting. What secrets would the dark reveal? And what choice would he make when the truth finally came knocking? This was not just a story of success. It was a fight for survival, respect, and the soul of a future nobody could predict. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming. And since you're here, drop a powerful like that really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and let me know in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. The air crackled with a charge different from before. Chaos erupted around Ethan. The crowd, once buzzing with excitement, turned into a whirlwind of panic and fear. Shadows danced in the dim light as the emergency alarms blared. Outside, sirens wailed, a sinister soundtrack to the mayhem inside. Ethan's heart raced, mind racing faster. His feet felt stuck to the ground. The stage was a battlefield now. Malik's smug smile faded, replaced by a look of pure disbelief. Was he as shocked as everyone else? Voices screamed, "Get down! What's happening?" The commotion bounced off the walls, amplifying the desperation. Ethan could barely think. Suddenly, a figure rushed toward him. A woman with wild eyes, her hair like a tangled storm. It was Jordan, his old friend from the streets. "Ethan!" She yelled, breathless. "You need to leave now." Her fear was palpable, slicing through his confusion. "Why?" he shot back. But she grabbed his arm. "They know! Malik knows about your past!" Ethan's chest tightened. Did she mean the secret? The one buried deep he thought was safe? "You can't trust anyone, Ethan. The summit, this isn't just a tech reveal, it's a trap." His pulse quickened. Who had set this trap? Malik? Or someone higher up? A plan was forming in his mind, but before he could react, the lights flickered violently. A shadow surged across the stage, and in that moment, the building shook. A blast rippled through the room, sending Ethan reeling to the ground. A shockwave of heat and sound ripping through the fabric of the event. People screamed. He felt Jordan's grip slipping from his fingers. "Jordan!" he shouted, but the noise swallowed her voice. Then silence fell, the kind that rings in your ears. Was that the end? Or just the beginning? They staggered to their feet, scanning the wreckage. But what caught Ethan's eye was Malik. There he stood, untouched, the corners of his mouth twisted up. "This is just the start, Ethan," he boomed, his voice booming like thunder in the sudden quiet. The audience turned toward him, confusion etched on their faces. "You think you can just walk away? This isn't just business. This is personal." Malik seemed to draw strength from the chaos, his words sharp like glass. Ethan felt the weight of every set of eyes on him, the collective breath held in anticipation. Then, a crackling voice erupted from a security radio on the floor. "Ethan Cole, there's been a breach. We have evidence." Ethan froze. Evidence? Could they know everything? He had thought his history was left behind, but what if it wasn't? A cold sweat trickled down his back. The darkness and betrayal he'd fought to escape now loomed large. Jordan, her expression a mix of anger and sorrow, moved closer. "You can't keep running from this, Ethan. They won't let you." Her words strung a chord deep inside, tightening the knot in his stomach. Malik stepped forward, a predator watching his prey. "You're not the hero here. You never were," he said softly, almost lovingly, as if savoring Ethan's fall. As the crowd began to murmur, the question loomed heavy in the air. What did Malik know? What had he uncovered? And what would happen next? In that vivid moment, the truth began to reveal itself, a truth that could reshape everything. Ethan was no longer just fighting for his invention or even his future. He was fighting for his life, as the ghosts of his past rushed to claim him. Would he stand tall, or would he crumble beneath the weight of the truth? Time froze as he locked eyes with Malik across the ruin. The world narrowed down. The stakes were higher than ever. What lay ahead was a mystery sealed in shadows, and Ethan was about to step into the darkness. Ethan's heart thundered in his chest, each beat threatening to drown out the chaos around him. The room spun as the lights flickered back on, casting erratic shadows over faces marked with shock and confusion. He felt the eyes of the audience flicking between him and Malik. A silent battle raging between two titans, locked in a moment of unknown consequence. Then a voice broke through the noise, clear and cutting. "Ethan, it's not." A figure pushed through the crowd, moving fast. It was Leah, his longtime friend and confidant, but her pale face sent a chill through him. "You need to come here now." The panic twisted in Ethan's gut as he fought through the crowd to reach her. "What's wrong? What happened?" He grabbed her arm, his breath quickening. She grabbed his shirt, eyes wide, urgency etched on her features. "It's about your device. The leak came from inside your team." "What? No, that's impossible." Dread pooled in his chest. Who would do that? "Someone close, Ethan." "I can't explain here. We need to go now." Before he could respond, two figures emerged from the shadows, blocking their path. Ethan recognized them immediately. It was his chief engineer, Jake, and another close colleague, Marcus. The look in their eyes was deadly serious. "Ethan," Jake stepped forward, voice steady but grave. "This isn't just a threat from Malik. There are bigger forces at play. You've been set up." Ethan's pulse raced. "Set up? By who?" Marcus's voice trembled as he spoke. "There's a group that doesn't want your invention to see the light of day. They think it'll disrupt their power. We've been investigating, and we found evidence." Suddenly, the lights blinked again, more violently this time, and with a loud crack, the stage microphone exploded in a shower of sparks. Screams erupted, fear spreading like wildfire, and through the mass of bodies, Malik stood, his eyes dark, a grin creeping across his face. He looked like a man who just won a war. Ethan's mind raced. "What did you find? What do you mean by set up?" But before anyone could respond, Malik raised a hand. "Enough," his voice boomed, cutting through the chaos. "Don't listen to them, Ethan." He strode toward Ethan, eyes glinting with malice. "They're trying to play you. ... It's easy to hide behind lies when you have nothing to fight for." "What do you know?" Ethan hurled back, eyes narrowing. Malik leaned in, his breath steely. "I know that your mother, she's not who you think she is. Your real father is connected to this group. If they catch wind of your plans, you will lose more than just your dream. You'll lose everything." Ethan felt the ground drop from under him. The air turned thick and heavy. He staggered, words escaping him. Whispers of confusion rippled through the room, eyes darting back and forth, searching for certainty in the chaos. "What are you saying?" Leah whispered, pulling back slightly, searching for his gaze. I don't know. His voice cracked, the weight of his past pressing down. It can't be true. Malik smirked, sensing the moment's drama. But it is, and it's only the beginning. The world spun around Ethan as the pieces fell apart. Everything he thought he knew melted away, leaving raw hurt and question. Trust shattered. Relationships twisted. What secrets lay buried in his family's history? In the uproar, screams faded into an eerie silence, leaving only silence as the crowd held its breath, waiting for Ethan's next move. Would he flee into the shadows or step into the light, ready to confront his past and the truth behind his mother's secrets? He felt the weight of the world on him. The stage was set, but the game had just begun. Ethan's heart pounded dangerously in his chest, each beat echoing the tension in the room. The audience, a sea of faces painted with shock and disbelief, held their collective breath, waiting for him to respond, to make a choice. But before he could gather his thoughts, the chaos reignited. A loud crash came from the back of the auditorium, pulling everyone's attention abruptly. "Stay back!" a voice yelled. A security guard rushed through the crowd, face pale and eyes wide like saucers. His panic spread faster than the last explosion. Chaos spilled over the aisles as people shoved each other, desperate to escape. Ethan's breath quickened, his instincts screaming to run. But something anchored him in place. Malik's grin vanished, replaced by a scowl. "What now?" he muttered, eyes darting around. The crowd surged, but Ethan caught sight of the guard. "What happened?" he shouted over the cacophony. "The perimeter is breached. We need to evacuate." The guard's voice trembled as he pushed toward them, fear escalating like an electric current. "Breached?" Leah gasped. "What do you mean? Who's here?" The guard hesitated, swallowing hard. "There's an unknown, someone inside. We couldn't stop them." A cold fear gripped Ethan. "What do they want?" But before anyone could answer, the door on the side of the auditorium burst open with a force that rattled the walls. A figure emerged from the shadows, silhouetted against the blinding lights. The whisper of anticipation swept through the crowd, hushed but thick with dread. As the figure stepped into the light, Ethan felt his gut drop. It was a face he recognized too well. It was Alicia, his long-lost sister, the sibling he thought was gone forever. Her eyes glimmered with something fierce, something he couldn't quite put his finger on. Ethan's heart lurched. Alicia? She stood tall, her presence overwhelming, radiating an energy that pulled everyone's focus. "Ethan!" She called out, her voice breaking through the noise. "We need to talk, now!" The room stood still, silence enveloping the chaos for just a breath. Malik's confusion morphed into annoyance, and Ethan felt the weight of past shadows rushing back. A painful reminder of family, of secrets once buried but now clawing their way to the surface. "What are you doing here?" he managed to say, though uncertainty twisted his words. Alicia stepped closer, a fire in her eyes. "You don't understand," she said urgently, her voice trembling slightly. "It's not just Malik. There's a movement, a plan behind all this. They want your device, Ethan. They want you, and they know what we are." Ethan's world flipped upside down. "What do you mean, what we are?" But before she could answer, Malik lunged forward, fury etched in his features. "You're lying. You can't trust her, Ethan. She's part of the same dirt that built our struggles. Shh! Enough! Alicia shot back, her fear transformed into righteous anger. You don't even understand what you're up against. The tension exploded like a gunshot, everyone's eyes darting between the three. Ethan felt the ground shift beneath him, the stakes higher and murkier than ever. Alicia wasn't just a surprise, she was a wild card, and the revelation of her existence sent his mind spinning. Who are you working with? Malik pressed, his voice low and deadly. The audience watched, breath held, eyes wide. I'm not working with anyone, Alicia spat, emotion heavy in her voice. This is family. This is bigger than all of us. The air crackled with a tense energy. Every person in the auditorium caught in the storm of revelation. All at once, the power of her words crashed over Ethan. They were connected by blood, bound by the choices of parents long gone. Was Malik right? Were they both part of a web, twisted by legacy? Why didn't you tell me? Ethan shouted, anguish spilling over. He realized how much he didn't know, and the ache of betrayal sunk deep. Alicia's face softened, vulnerability flashing through her fierce exterior. I thought I was protecting you. They're looking for you, Ethan, because of your invention. We don't have time to argue. The weight of her words landed heavy in the room. The crowd shifted, a ripple of doubt and fear coiling tighter. What had he stumbled into? What lines had been crossed without him? Just then, another loud crash erupted from the ceiling. Tiles pelting to the floor. Get down, someone screamed, turning the mood desperate. Ethan's adrenaline kicked in as reality crashed around him. There were now more threats than he had ever imagined, and now loyalties blurred. What line would he cross? Would he ally with Alicia? Or would Malik's warnings hold some hidden truth? He stood frozen, caught on the edge of an unknown precipice, facing the shadows of his past, alongside the explosive uncertainty of his future. What lay ahead was nothing he could have ever anticipated. A junction that held the weight of betrayal, family ties, and a future meant to be rewritten. Ethan's heartbeat thundered in his ears as darkness enveloped him. The stage lights flickered out, leaving behind an unsettling hush, except for the rising chaos, screams blending with uncertainty. He felt the audience's breath hitch, eyes wide, minds racing. What just happened? Then came a voice, calm, smooth. Ethan, don't panic. It was Malik, standing strong at the edge of the chaos. Somehow, he was watching with a small, almost amused grin. This isn't just about you anymore. You need to understand that. Ethan's mind spun. What did he mean? Just then, a loud crash distracted him. The audience, a sea of faces, shifted, panic rippling through them. He focused, trying to make sense of this. Then it hit him. The summit was overrun, not just by confusion, but by something else. Intent. Shadows lunged through the darkness, flinging debris. Figures loomed, darting toward the exits. Some people screamed, scrambling for safety. But instead of escaping, others stood frozen, eyes glued to where Malik and he stood. "Ethan!" a voice called out. His friend Rebecca rushed forward, fear in her eyes. "We've got to get out of here." "Not yet," he shouted, adrenaline coursing through him. "What's happening?" But before she could answer, a spotlight flickered back on, illuminating something unfathomable. A projection on the massive screen behind the stage, an image of Ethan. But not the one the audience knew. This Ethan wore a prison jumpsuit, a wild look in his eyes. The caption beneath it sent shockwaves through the crowd. "Ethan Cole, the fraudulent genius." Gasps echoed through the chamber. Whispers morphed into jagged questions. "Is that real? What's going on? Did he really?" Ethan's stomach twisted. No, 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 this couldn't be happening. His hands went clammy. The image glitched, changing to another. A newspaper headline from years ago. "Local boy arrested for fraud. Ethan Cole's shocking past." He barely remembered that time. The shame of those years washed over him, scalding and bitter. Rebecca gasped. "Ethan, is this true? Did you—" A stinging heat filled his chest. "I didn't do—" But before he could explain, Malik stepped closer. His smile faded, replaced by a stone-cold stare. "You wanted to rewrite the rules, Ethan? You wanted to build a new future? Well, here lies your past. The truth will always chase you." Ethan's world tilted, confused terror taking over. The projections flashed again, presenting more damning evidence. Friends turned on him as whispers cut through the air like knives. "He's a fraud. We can't believe him." Then came the twist. A tall figure stepped onto the stage, silhouetted by the chaos. The last person anyone expected. Ethan's heart sank as he recognized him. His estranged father, Marcus Cole. He hadn't seen him in nearly a decade. And now, here he was, looking older but formidable. Marcus raised a hand, silencing the crowd. "Enough!" His voice rang through the auditorium. "You think you know Ethan's story? I'm here to tell you the truth." Ethan staggered back, the brown shifting beneath him. His heart raced, the lump in his throat threatening to choke him. What truth? What secrets had his father kept? The summit wasn't just unraveling, it was morphing into a battleground of histories, shattered dreams, and harsh realities. He looked at Malik. What game was he playing? Could he even trust anyone? And before the crowd, the stage, and the chaos, Ethan stood on a precipice, the truth looming larger than he could ever have imagined. Would his father expose the very secrets he fought so hard to contain? Or would their shared past tether him down, dragging him into a darkness he thought he left behind? The air crackled with tension. Confusion swirled like storm clouds. What came next? All eyes were on Ethan, waiting for the man who had to choose between facing his demons or letting them consume him whole. Ethan stood frozen, the chaos enveloping him like a thick fog. The auditorium, once bursting with energy, now erupted into panic. Shouts echoed, feet pounded against the floor. Shadows danced outside the flickering stage lights as the blackout swallowed everything in darkness. Heart racing, he tried to decipher the sounds around him. Was that screaming or just the roar of confusion? Then, piercing through the noise, came a voice, a familiar voice. "Ethan, get down!" It was his friend Sam, rushing toward him, eyes wide with terror. Ethan barely had time to react before an explosion of color lit up the room. A flash, blinding and bright. Then, another wave of chaos swept through the crowd. They were under attack. As Ethan ducked behind a nearby column, instinct driving him, his mind raced. How could this happen? Who would dare disrupt his launch? His invention was meant to change lives, not endanger them. Sam crouched beside him, panting heavily. What's going on? Is it Malik? Did he go this far? No, I don't think so, Ethan gasped. This feels different. It feels personal. Then, like a punch to the gut, it struck him. Malik had warned him. The fight wasn't just about technology. It never had been. Suddenly, a thought clawed its way to the forefront of Ethan's mind. What if this attack was connected to the dark secret Malik had taunted him with earlier? The one that had shaken his resolve and twisted his gut into knots? A cold sweat dripped down his back. Before he could voice his fears, the lights flickered back on, revealing the scene. Chaos reigned. People stumbled over chairs, frantic faces lit by the stage's harsh glare. Then, amidst the turmoil, Ethan caught sight of something, or someone, standing in the corner. Ha 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 ha! An image that froze his blood. It was a woman, hooded and hidden, but for a split second, she lifted her head, meeting Ethan's gaze with an intensity that felt like a jolt. In that fleeting glance, Ethan recognized her, Sarah, his childhood friend, the one he thought he lost to the streets years ago. The one he couldn't forget, the one whose disappearance haunted him. Shock coursed through him. What was she doing here? And why was she looking at him like that? Ha 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 ha! A mix of fear and betrayal. Then she turned, disappearing into the whirl of bodies. Did you see her? Ethan blurted, dread tightening its grip around his heart. That was Sarah. But Sam's eyes widened. She's been gone for years, Ethan. How in the world? Before they could process any more, the air shifted. Suddenly, the room fell silent. Everyone's heads snapped toward the stage. Ethan squinted, trying to make sense of it. Malik stood there now, mic in hand, his voice booming out above the remnants of chaos. Ethan Cole can't be trusted, Malik declared. Not after everything you don't know about him. Malik! Someone shouted, but the crowd hushed, eyes glued to the stage. In this city, we fight to claim our futures, Malik continued, the tension thickening. And Ethan's invention comes with a price you're unwilling to pay. Ethan's heart sank. What new game was Malik playing? Suddenly, the focus shifted. An emergency vehicle's siren blared in the distance, creeping closer, blending with the uncertainty in the air. Ethan, what did he mean? Sam hissed, panic rising. You've got to tell me! The truth lingered on the tip of Ethan's tongue. The truth about his invention, his past, his connection to Sarah. But before he could speak, the crowd's murmur grew louder, voices laced with suspicion. Was this really the moment for revelations? The world seemed to teeter on the edge, an intricate web woven with each secret laid bare. Then, with a final booming blink of lights, the crowd blew apart into whispers, each conversation coding a fear that turned the air electric. Everything he thought he knew was crumbling. A past filled with shadows, a friend he thought lost. What other secrets lay hidden beneath this chaos? And would the truth set him free or pull him into darkness? Ethan stood frozen, the chaos swirling around him like a tempest. His heart raced. Screams echoed off the walls, bouncing around his ear like they were ricocheting from his pounding mind. The stage lights flickered then died, plunging everything into darkness. The only sounds were frantic whispers and the frantic shuffling of feet. Panic crept over the crowd like a thick fog. "What's happening?" someone yelled. Ethan strained his eyes to see anything. Was this a distraction? A way for Malik to undermine him? He gripped the edge of the podium, knuckles white, searching for calm in the chaos. But everything felt like it was falling apart. His mind raced, 1,000 thoughts clawing for space. Then, out of the dark, a single spotlight flickered back to life, aimed at the back of the auditorium. Ethan squinted, trying to see. A figure stood there, and against the chaos, a silence descended. He could almost feel the tension vibrating in the air as the crowd held its breath. Who was this? As the figure stepped forward, Ethan's heart dropped. It was someone he hadn't seen in years, his mother, the woman he had lost contact with after he became successful, the woman he had decided to leave behind. She wore a simple dress, her hair tied back, but her eyes were fierce. They locked with his, filled with something unreadable. "Ethan!" she shouted, her voice cutting through the silence like a knife. "You're being used! You need to know the truth!" A murmur rippled through the audience. Confusion and shock painted their faces. Ethan felt sick. What truth? The knot in his throat twisted tighter. "Not here! Not now! Not in front of all these people! Mom, you shouldn't be here!" he called out, desperation creeping into his voice. Panic pushed against his chest. The audience began buzzing again, whispers racing through the rows. He could hear bits and pieces, questions punctuated by gasps. "Does she know something? What's happening? I'm here to save you!" she yelled, her voice ringing with an authority he had not heard in years. "You think you're building something great, but you don't know the cost. This isn't about vision or freedom." Her words slammed into him like fists. His legs felt weak, trembling under the weight of her revelation. There was anger, fear, everything twisted up inside. "What do you mean?" He wanted to scream, but his voice came out as a choked whisper. "Malik knows. He knows everything," she exclaimed. A gasp swept through the crowd. "It's not just business for him, son. He's connected to the very shadows that raised you. He isn't just your rival, he's your blood." Ethan felt the floor drop beneath him. Blood? His mind reeled. The whispers grew louder, sharper. His blood? Someone in the crowd gasped. Could what she was saying even be real? Dread settled in his gut like a stone. Malik, the man he saw as the enemy, was somehow tied to his past? A long-buried truth clawed its way back to him, twisting memories he thought were lost in the fight for success. Ethan was set to change the world, but at what cost? Was everything built on lies? The lights flickered again, gaining strength. Ethan could see Malik in the corner of his eye, storming to the front, his face a mask of fury. "You don't have the right to be here!" Malik shouted, eyes fierce, lips curled in a snarl. The crowd's energy shifted, nervous tension coiling tight like a spring. What secrets could be hiding beneath the surface? How deep did the roots of their rivalry run? And would this truth destroy everything they both fought for? Ethan's heart thudded. The world felt off-kilter, balanced on the brink. As Malik's fury met his mother's fire, Ethan was left teetering on the edge of revelation, witnessing secrets crash together, ready to unravel everything about the man he thought he knew. What truth lay in wait, and could he handle it? Ethan stood frozen, the chaos enveloping him like a thick fog. His heart raced. The auditorium felt like a boiling cauldron, whispers buzzing like angry bees. But all he could focus on was his mother's trembling voice ringing in his ears. "He's your blood!" Malik's face twisted in fury as he stepped forward. "Silence her!" he growled, eyes blazing with anger. "Ethan, please! You don't understand what you're up against!" His mother's plea cut through the tension. But before he could respond, a loud explosion rocked the building. A deafening sound crashed through the air, and the ceiling above them shook. Debris rained down like a rain of glass shards. Panic erupted anew as people screamed, some ducking for cover, while others scrambled toward the exits. Ethan's heart thudded violently in his chest. "Mom!" he shouted, reaching for her, but she was jerked back by the blast's force. The lights flickered ominously before plunging the auditorium into near darkness once again. "Stay close," Sam yelled, pulling Ethan to the safety of a nearby wall. But just as he pulled away to find his mother, something dark and sinister emerged from the ashes of chaos. A figure sauntered into the flickering light, silhouetted and menacing. The crowd gasped, a collective intake of breath rippling through them. Ethan squinted, recognition twisting his gut. The figure stepped forward, revealing a face he had never expected to see again. His father, Marcus Cole. "What are you doing here?" Ethan's voice cracked, confusion tearing through him. "You shouldn't be here!" But Marcus ignored him, addressing the crowd instead. "This ends now. All of it. No more hiding behind lies." Ethan felt a knot form in his stomach. "What lies? You don't know anything!" But the intensity in his father's eyes sparked a sudden horror inside him. The weight of his father's presence made every breath feel heavy. He could feel his truth creeping up his throat. "You're a part of this too, Ethan. You always were." Before Ethan could process the implications, Malik stepped to the front, eyes narrowing. "You think you can just barge in here, Marcus? After all these years? Are you ready to face the consequences?" "What consequences?" Marcus shouted back with wild-eyed defiance. "You think I'm afraid of you? You, who built your empire on the back of lies and deception? ... You have no idea what I lost to keep you safe!" Ethan's heart pounded as memories flashed through his mind. His mother leaving, the nights spent alone, the whispers of betrayal. What if everything he had built was founded on a charade? What would it mean if Malik's words had been true? "Your mother protected you, but the truth is coming out." Marcus's voice shook the air, and with it, Ethan felt the ground shift beneath him. Then, in the chaos, the lights flickered back on, this time revealing something horrifying behind Marcus. Another figure stepped from the shadows, and as the light caught their features, Ethan felt his world crash around him. It was Sarah, but not just any Sarah. She wore the attire of a government agent, a badge clipped to her waist. "Ethan," she said, voice steady but cold. It's time for you to choose. Will you stand with your blood or against it? The crowd gasped as Ethan felt ice course through his veins. You, ustedes? What are you doing? As realization flooded the room, the air crackled with tension. Everything he believed about family, loyalty, and truth unraveled in front of him. Was Sarah a player in this twisted game all along? You have no idea what's at stake, she continued. Your invention is more powerful than you know. It's not just about technology. It's about control. And you're the key. A single heartbeat stretched like a thin thread of silence between them. The reality of betrayal wrapping around Ethan like a vice. He was standing at the precipice, surrounded by faces he thought he could trust, haunted by shadows he couldn't escape. What did all of this mean? Could he follow this path? The choice loomed, dark and daunting, and as he sought answers, the buzz of the crowd faded to a ghostly hum in his ears. Ethan! Malik's voice shattered the silence. You need to choose before it's too late. Time slipped away, and all Ethan could see was a path shrouded in uncertainty. The truth came barreling at him, hard and fast, and with it, a choice that could change everything forever. As he looked into the familiar face of the sister he had lost, a storm brewing inside him begged to be set free, leaving Ethan standing at the edge of a new reality, desperate to know what came next. Ethan stood there, heart racing, grappling with the revelation that swirled around him like a tempest. Malik, his mother, Sarah, their faces were etched with urgency, each of them entangled in shadows he had never known existed. Would he really side with this risk? Did he truly have the power to change the future? Or was he just a pawn in someone else's game? He opened his mouth to speak. This is your momento, Ethan. You need to decide. Then, just as chaos seemed to pause, the auditorium trembled. A deep, low rumble echoed from the depths of the building. A wave of disbelief washed over the crowd as screams erupted anew. What the hell is happening? Ethan shouted over the noise. He glanced at Sarah, her eyes filled with desperate urgency. We need to get out of here. But before he could make another move, the ground shook violently. An explosion tore through the back of the auditorium, sending debris and dust spiraling into the air. The sound was deafening. The chaos erupted with a violent fervor, and panic surged through the crowd like wildfire. Coughs and cries mingled, filled the air, before it all slumped into disarray. Body after body pushed toward the exits, fighting for safety. But Ethan was rooted in place, eyes wide, taking in the destruction. Then, amidst the panic, he turned again to Sarah, desperate for clarity. Is it them? He gasped, voice barely holding steady. Did this have something to do with you? No! I swear, Ethan, this isn't part of it, she pleaded, but he barely heard her over the panic. Fear twisted in his gut as he realized this was planned. This chaos felt orchestrated. Just then, Malik's booming voice broke through the noise. Everyone, stay calm. We're going to get through this. But there was something different in his tone now, something calculating. As gravity pulled him deeper into desperation, Ethan's gaze sharpened on Malik, still all too aware of the intense connection binding them. Despite everything, He should have felt a flicker of trust, but suspicion coursed through him. Suddenly, the lights flickered back on, illuminating a figure stumbling through the smoke toward the stage. As the crowd drew an anxious breath, Ethan's heart plummeted. It was his father again. Marcus was covered in dust and grime, looking more ghost than man. The room fell silent as he raised a trembling hand. "Ethan! What now? After all this?" Ethan's tone dripped with bitterness. He felt caught in a gravitational pull, torn between the man he loved and the one who abandoned him. But Marcus's expression stilled the raging storm in Ethan. "You don't know what you're part of." He turned to the audience, his voice low, yet steady. "This is bigger than all of us." With that, he stepped closer, and Ethan felt a surge of anxiety coiling in his stomach. "What do you mean?" Before Marcus could answer, a loud crash echoed from the ceiling. Ethan watched in horror as chunks of plaster rained down. Then, in a flash of movement, a shadow darted behind Malik, advancing on him like a specter. It was Sarah, her features twisted in fury. "You set this up, didn't you?" she screamed, her voice sharpened to a knife. "What?" Malik recoiled, confusion painted on every feature. I would never." But it was too late. A second explosion erupted from above, sending an avalanche of debris crashing down on the stage. A thick cloud of dust billowed, obscuring everyone's view. Silence fell once again, so thick Ethan could almost hear the heartbeat of the crowd stall, everyone bracing for what would come next. Then it happened. The smoke began to settle, revealing a figure drawn from the shadows, an unexpected embodiment of calm amidst the chaos. It was Leah, standing defiantly, but the room turned icy with recognition. She looked different, more determined, with an intensity in her eyes that sent chills down Ethan's spine. "Ethan! It's time you knew the truth about everything and everyone." A collective intake of breath echoed around the room. What could she possibly mean? He felt the tension, a palpable energy hanging before her next words. The pit in his stomach twisted tighter, his mind racing with the implications. "What truth?" Leah raised her hand, revealing a small device, its screen flickering to life. "The truth is that all of this, the chaos, the inventions, the schemes, has been orchestrated by someone far more powerful than any of us are." Ethan's heart raced. Who could it be? What did this mean for him? "Who's behind it?" he asked, pulse quickening, every fiber in him yearning for clarity. But before she could respond, chaos erupted again, and the room began to rumble once more. The ground beneath their feet shook, the walls quaking with fierce intensity. Ethan's breath caught. A terrible realization dawned. This wasn't just an attack. It was a warning. The very foundation of everything was crumbling. Leah's voice fought to be heard amid the chaos. "Trust on nothing. Only the truth can save you." In that moment, a vibrant light pierced through the dust, illuminating everything. As Ethan looked into the faces of the people he thought he knew, he saw the shadows, the doubts, and the betrayals swirling around them like a storm. "Stay close," Sam shouted, grabbing Ethan's arm as the dust settled once more. But Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that something had fundamentally changed. "Will you trust me?" Leo whispered, voice filled with urgency. But as he stared into her eyes, uncertainty swelled within him. How could he trust anyone anymore, when all he felt was this profound sense of loss, this fear that everything was breaking apart? The stage was set. Nothing would ever be the same. As he faced the brewing storm of revelations, unanswered questions loomed larger than ever. Would he step into the darkness for the truth, or retreat from the unexpected chaos that had turned his world upside down? Ethan stood at the center of the chaos, eyes darting between the faces. His mother, Marcus, Malik, and now Leah, each pulled him in different directions, their fears and truths colliding like thunder. "Ethan!" Leah shouted, her urgency slicing through the panic. "We need to expose them! We need to show everyone that the truth matters!" But as the ground shook again, an echo of imminent danger, doubt gnawed at his stomach. Could he even trust her? "What do you know that I don't?" he yelled back, trying to steady his racing heart. "I know that your invention can change lives, but unless we stop the chaos, it will fall into the wrong hands." She took a step closer, desperation spilling from her eyes. "This isn't just about you anymore." Then Sarah emerged from the smoke, an unrecognizable specter, every inch of her exuding purpose. Ethan felt the lump in his throat. "Sarah, you have to help." "Enough!" Malik's fierce voice erupted, drawing everyone's attention back to him. "This isn't a game, Ethan. You need to realize what is happening. There are forces at play beyond our understanding." Marcus stepped forward, his expression a mix of anger and fear. "Malik is right about one thing. We need to unite, or we will all lose." But the crowd had morphed into a sea of confusion, whispers swirling like a tempest. "Who do we trust?" Someone cried out from the back, echoing the doubt that hung in the air. Ethan felt the weight of every gaze, every breath, his resolve wavering like a candle in a storm. "Mom," he called, searching for clarity. "What do I do?" Suddenly, a loud crash reverberated through the room, and panic shot through the crowd again. Walls rattled and debris fell, but through the chaotic blur, a voice emerged, calm and steady. "Ethan, listen!" It was Leah again. "This is our moment. We can reveal the truth together. Trust me." He hesitated, but felt a flicker of hope ignite inside him. Maybe she was right. Maybe this was the chance to turn the tide. "Okay," he said, voice firming. "What's the plan?" Just then, the lights flickered back on, revealing Sarah, determination etched on her face. "We'll expose what is happening, together!" With the crowd still buzzing anxiously, Ethan felt adrenaline surge through him. "Let's do it!" His voice boomed, echoing off the walls. As everyone turned to face him, he saw a glint of hope in their eyes. They moved as one, a force of desperation and clarity. They would stand together to face whatever came next. But then came the moment that sent shockwaves through the auditorium. An announcement blared over the speakers. "Attention! A breach has been detected! Evacuate immediately!" The very words felt like a shackle around Ethan's heart. "No!" he shouted, fear clawing at his insides. "We can't leave! We have to uncover the truth!" "Ethan, we must go!" his mother snapped, urgency washing over her like a tide. But his resolve only hardened. The truth was out there, and he could either run or fight. In that split second, everything became clear. This moment was his! With a collective push, they braced themselves against what was to come, united in their quest for justice. But whoever is pulling the strings will face us all, he declared, breathless yet defiant. As they surged forward, a sudden blinding light engulfed them, and all Ethan could hear was a cacophony of voices, their hopes, their fears, and their desire for a better tomorrow. The rush of uncertainty swirled like a whirlwind, but one thing was clear: they would not go quietly. This was just the beginning, and as they pierced through the storm, the shadows would tremble at the unity wielded by truth. As the screen dimmed to black, anticipation clawed at the edges of reality. But before the audience could grasp what came next, a commanding voice echoed once more. "This isn't the end! Your journey continues!" And there it was, the hint of more secrets buried beneath the surface. You have to subscribe now to the channel so you don't miss the upcoming exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm. Don't wait even a second longer to share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this ending. Flood the comment section with your reactions and theories about what's next. Your voice matters. This is your chance to be a part of something exciting.